They told him there were no rooms available until someone else walked in. What they didn't know was that the man they had turned away wasn't just any traveler. He was a global icon. Rapper Snoop Dogg with the power to change his own fate. Rain poured heavily, pounding the roof of Snoop's sleek black SUV as it pulled up to the circular driveway of the Imperial Sunset Hotel in Long Beach, California. The golden glow of the chandeliers spilled onto the wet pavement, casting an aura of luxury. For many, the hotel was a sanctuary, a haven of comfort for weary travelers. But that night, Snoop wasn't welcomed with that kind of hospitality. He stepped out of his car, adjusting the collar of his signature blue and gold jacket. At 6'4", 1.93 m, with an imposing presence, Snoop was impossible to ignore. His polished shoes echoed softly on the marble floor as he entered the lobby. The scent of freshly cut roses filled the air, blending with the faint aroma of espresso from the nearby lounge. Snoop approached the front desk with his trademark relaxed smile. "Good evening," he said in a calm but warm voice. "I'd like a room for tonight. My flight was delayed and I need a place to stay before catching the next one." The receptionist, a young man with slicked back blonde hair and a name tag that read Evan, barely looked up. His fingers moved slowly across the keyboard. Deliberate. "I'm sorry, sir," he replied with a tone that didn't sound sorry at all. "We're fully booked." Snoop glanced around. The lobby wasn't crowded, and the soft chime of the elevator signaled the arrival of only one guest. He leaned slightly forward, keeping his smile. "Full, you say? Not even a single room?" Evan finally looked up, a thin smile on his lips. "That's correct. We don't have anything available." Before Snoop could reply, the revolving doors opened. A middle-aged couple entered, dragging their suitcases behind them. Evan's attitude changed instantly. His smile widened, and his tone turned syrupy. "Welcome to the Imperial Sunset. Do you have a reservation?" The man shook his head. "No problem," Evan replied eagerly. "Let me check availability." Snoop watched as Evan typed again, and within seconds, produced a room key for the couple. "Enjoy your stay," Evan said cheerfully as they walked away. Snoop cleared his throat, drawing Evan's attention again. "I thought you said you were fully booked?" Evan's eyes flickered briefly, his rehearsed smile faltering. "I meant we don't have anything that fits your needs." Snoop felt the weight of the moment. This wasn't about availability or showing up late. It was about something much uglier. The realization hit him, but he didn't react. Instead, he straightened his posture, his face unreadable. "Thank you for your time," he said with the same calm demeanor. Without another word, he turned and walked back into the rain. But that wouldn't be the end of the night. It was just the beginning. Outside, Snoop stood under the awning, letting the rain drum against the canvas above. He pulled out his phone, searching for nearby hotels. But his eyes remained fixed on the revolving doors behind him. Something about the scene he had just witnessed lingered in his mind, like a scent that wouldn't fade. He casually leaned against a marble column, out of sight from the lobby, but close enough to watch. It didn't take long for his suspicions to be confirmed. A young man in his 20s walked in, wearing cargo pants and a hoodie, his backpack slung over one shoulder. Snoop watched as the man approached Evan, making the same request he had minutes earlier, a room for the night. Though Snoop couldn't hear the conversation, he didn't need to. Evan's exaggerated gestures and wide smile said it all. Within seconds, the young man received a room key. No hesitation, no excuses, just a quick transaction and a polite send-off. Snoop's lips tightened into a firm line. This wasn't a mistake or an oversight. It was intentional. He stayed a moment longer, considering his next move. His first instinct was to confront the receptionist, to call out the hypocrisy right there in the lobby. But years in the music industry and business had taught him the value of restraint. There's a time to speak, and a time to act. That night, he chose the latter. He climbed back into his car, feeling the cold leather seat beneath him. As he drove away, the golden lights of the hotel faded in his rearview mirror, while a plan began to take shape in his mind. This wasn't just about him. It was about every person who had faced the same silent rejection, but didn't have the voice or the means to challenge it. Snoop wasn't going to let it slide. Not tonight. Not ever. The windshield wipers danced rhythmically as Snoop navigated the wet streets of Long Beach. The hotel's rejection replayed in his mind, not as a wound, but as fuel. He wasn't angry. Anger wastes energy. What he felt was sharper, focused determination. He had spent decades building his empire, rising above those who underestimated him. Tonight, he would prove his worth once again. He pulled into the parking lot of a modest diner, its neon red sign reading M24/7 Eats. Inside, the smell of coffee and bacon greeted him. Snoop slid into a booth by the window and pulled out his laptop. A waitress silently placed a steaming cup of coffee on his table. He nodded in thanks and began typing furiously. Snoop had been considering the Imperial Sunset Hotel for months. The property was part of a declining chain, and rumors of a sale had reached his team during a routine investment meeting. At the time, he hadn't paid much attention. It was a small fish compared to the global ventures he usually focused on. But tonight changed everything. Within minutes, he dialed the number of his lawyer, Lisa Reynolds, a sharp negotiator known for closing deals at lightning speed. "Lisa," he said in a calm but firm tone, "I need the paperwork to acquire the Imperial Sunset Hotel ready before sunrise." "By dawn? That's ambitious even for you," Lisa replied, surprised. "Do what you can, Lisa," he said, making it clear there was no room for doubt. "Send the papers to my phone as soon as they're ready. I'll sign them electronically." He hung up and looked out the window, watching the rain slide down the glass. Over the following hours, Snoop's team worked tirelessly to close the deal. When the first rays of dawn painted the sky in soft shades of orange and pink, the agreement was sealed. The Imperial Sunset Hotel was his. Snoop closed his laptop and took a deep breath. His coffee had gone cold, but he didn't care. The real work was just beginning. The morning sun shone on the glass facade of the Imperial Sunset Hotel as Snoop stepped out of his car, radiating calm confidence. Elegantly dressed in a custom-designed jacket, he adjusted his sunglasses and looked at the building. It was a symbol of exclusivity, its polished exterior hiding the flaws underneath. Today, those flaws would be exposed. Hotel staff were busy preparing for another day of serving distinguished guests. Evan, the receptionist, was already behind the counter, his polished professional demeanor firmly in place. He didn't notice Snoop at first, at least not immediately. Snoop took his time, observing the space with fresh eyes. He noticed how the staff exchanged brief glances as they passed him, their expressions shifting between curiosity and unease. Perhaps it was the aura he projected, a calm authority hinting at something significant. As he approached the counter, Evan offered his rehearsed smile. "Good morning, sir. How may I assist you today?" Snoop didn't respond immediately. Instead, he placed a sharp, pristine black folder on the counter. He opened it slowly, revealing a stack of sealed and signed legal documents. Evan's smile wavered. Confusion clouded his face. "I'm here to make an introduction," Snoop began in a measured but firm tone. "My name is Snoop Dogg, and as of this morning, I am the new owner of the Imperial Sunset Hotel." The room seemed to hold its breath. The rest of the staff froze mid-task, turning their heads toward the lobby. Evan's face turned pale, his composure crumbling as he tried to process what he'd just heard. I don't understand," Evan stammered, his usual confidence shattered. "I'll make it simple," Snoop continued, locking eyes with him. "This hotel is now under my ownership, and last night, I had the pleasure of experiencing firsthand how some of the employees treat potential guests. Let's just say I wasn't impressed." Evan opened his mouth but couldn't form any words. Snoop raised a hand, cutting off any excuse. "No need to explain anything. Actions speak louder than words, and your actions said plenty." Snoop turned to address the rest of the staff, now gathered in the lobby with mixed expressions of apprehension and curiosity. Among them were Maria, a housekeeper who had worked there for over a decade, and Tom, the night doorman who had overheard Evan's derogatory remarks about certain guests. They all looked at Snoop with a mixture of hope and fear. I believe in running businesses that stand for justice, respect, and inclusion. Unfortunately, this hotel hasn't met those standards. But that changes starting today. The tension in the room was palpable, but Snoop didn't let it linger. Everyone will have a chance to grow with this new chapter, except those who refuse to treat every guest with dignity. I do not tolerate prejudice of any kind. Evan's face flushed red, and he muttered something under his breath, but Snoop gave him no chance to speak. Your actions last night have no place in this hotel's future. You're fired, effective immediately. Evan's jaw dropped, but Snoop's words hung in the air, firm and final. Other employees exchanged looks. Some subtly nodded, others whispered among themselves. Snoop could feel the shift, a subtle understanding beginning to spread through the room. Let me make something else clear, Snoop continued, pacing slowly, his tone steady but not hostile. This isn't just about what happened last night. It's about the culture of this hotel, the message it sends, and the experience it offers to every person who walks through these doors. The staff listened attentively, their eyes fixed on him. What happened last night wasn't just an offense against me. It reflected something much bigger, a mindset that has no place here. From this moment on, this hotel will represent respect and inclusion. That means changes, starting with new policies and training. Snoop pointed to Maria, who had long witnessed silent tensions. What's your name? Maria, she replied timidly, though with hope. Well, Maria, Snoop said, offering a reassuring smile. You and the rest of the team will receive full training to ensure every guest feels valued, no matter who they are or where they come from. Maria nodded, her initial doubt softening. Let me be clear, Snoop continued. I'm not here to punish anyone unfairly. Mistakes happen and growth is possible. If you're willing to embrace these changes, there's a place for you here. If not, it's better for everyone that we part ways. He let the silence stretch for a moment, allowing his words to sink in. This hotel has the potential to be more than just a place to stay, to sleep, or to hold conferences. It can be a symbol, an example of what hospitality should be. And with the right team, I know we can achieve it. Snoop took a step back, observing the room. The atmosphere had changed drastically since his arrival. Where once there had been fear and tension, there was now cautious optimism. Everything is already in motion, he added. A new general manager will arrive next week, and renovation plans will begin immediately. This is a new chapter for all of us. With a slight smile, he concluded, let's make this hotel something we can all be proud of. The staff exchanged glances. Some whispered softly among themselves. Snoop could see that his message had struck a chord. The foundation for change was laid. The weeks that followed marked the beginning of a revolution at the Imperial Sunset Hotel. Snoop didn't just take over the property. He infused it with a renewed vision, full of purpose. From day one, he made it clear the hotel wouldn't just change ownership, but soul. Construction crews arrived almost immediately, transforming the space from its very foundations. What were once cold, sterile walls were now painted in warm, inviting tones. The lobby, which had once intimidated with distant luxury, was redesigned to be a place where anyone could feel welcome. Comfortable armchairs were added, along with fresh floral arrangements and local artwork celebrating Long Beach's cultural diversity. But the physical changes were only the beginning. Snoop knew the real impact lay in the people. He hired experts in diversity, equity, and inclusion to lead workshops designed not only to train, but to spark meaningful conversations. During these sessions, employees shared personal stories, confronted biases, and learned the value of offering genuine hospitality to every guest, regardless of appearance or background. Maria, the housekeeper, quickly stood out. Her natural empathy and problem-solving skills made her a leader among her peers. One afternoon, while she was supervising a group of new employees, Snoop approached. Maria, you've been doing an exceptional job. I think it's time for a new title for you, assistant manager. Maria was stunned, barely able to hold back tears. I never thought something like this could be possible for someone like me, she said. moved. You earned it, Snoop replied with a smile. This place is as much yours as it is mine. Meanwhile, the rest of the staff began adapting to the changes. Some, like the night doorman, found inspiration in the new inclusive approach. Others, who were unwilling to let go of old attitudes, chose to leave on their own. To Snoop, that was part of the process of building something better. The impact of the transformation was soon felt. Hotel reviews began appearing online, filled with praise, not just for the comfort of the rooms, but for the welcoming atmosphere that now permeated every corner. The best customer service I've ever received, wrote one guest. Here, you're not just treated like a client, you're treated like family. News of the Imperial Sunset's transformation spread quickly. Soon, both local and national media were covering the story. From exclusion to excellence, the rebirth of the Imperial Sunset under Snoop Dogg's leadership. The attention drew in new guests, curious to experience the change. But it also brought back former visitors, eager to see how the hotel had reinvented its essence. One day, while reviewing progress in the newly renovated lobby, Snoop saw a family enter. The parents held hands with two small children, their joy evident. The father, who bore a slight resemblance to Snoop, stopped to shake his hand. I read about what you did here, the man said with a sincere smile. It's inspiring. Thank you for showing that business can make a difference. Snoop simply nodded, his expression warm. This place is for everyone now, he replied. That's how it always should have been. However, not everyone found such a promising ending. Evan, the former receptionist, faced the consequences of his actions. News of his dismissal spread quickly, and opportunities in the hotel industry vanished. Eventually, he found work at a small roadside motel, where he now dealt daily with guests from all backgrounds. For the first time, he began to understand the weight of his prejudices and the consequences of his choices. Although his new job lacked the prestige he once desired, it gave him the opportunity to reflect and change. For Snoop, the true achievement wasn't just the hotel's commercial success, but the human impact. One day, as he walked through the hallways, Maria approached him with a radiant smile and a report in hand. Mr. Dogg, the final guest survey results are in. Over 95% mention hospitality as the best part of their experience. Snoop smiled, setting his coffee cup down on a table. That's what I like to hear, Maria. This place isn't just about the building anymore. It's about the people who fill it. As Maria returned to her tasks, Snoop took a moment to reflect. What had begun as a night of rejection had become a lesson in perseverance, justice, and transformation. He had built many things in his life, records, legacies, brands, but this hotel was different. It was personal. Looking at the bustling lobby, with families, couples, and solo travelers being greeted warmly, Snoop made a silent promise. Every guest who walked through those doors would leave with a smile, knowing they had been treated with the respect they deserved. At its core, the Imperial Sunset Hotel had become more than a business. It was a symbol, a testament that change begins with a single act of courage and the belief that everyone deserves respect. With the Imperial Sunset fully reborn, Snoop decided the next step was to deepen the social impact he wanted to achieve. It wasn't just about remodeling a hotel and training staff. It was about creating an experience that would resonate beyond its walls. For him, it had become a personal mission. One morning, while walking through the newly renovated hotel gardens with Maria and the new general manager Marcus, an expert in hospitality with an innovative approach, Snoop shared his vision. This place can be more than just a luxury hotel, he said, looking at the palm trees gently swaying in the wind. I want the Imperial Sunset to be a beacon for the community, a place where everyone, not just the guests, feels like they belong. Maria, always quick to contribute ideas, suggested something that lit up Snoop's eyes. What if we organized community events? We could offer free hospitality classes for local youth, or hold outdoor movie nights in the gardens. Snoop grinned widely. That's exactly what I was thinking, Maria. But let's take it further. I want a foundation linked to the hotel, something that directly supports the communities of Long Beach. In less than a month, the Imperial Sunset launched its Open Doors initiative, a program dedicated to supporting local youth interested in hospitality careers. Workshops were led by hotel employees like Maria and Tom, who shared their personal stories of growth and overcoming challenges. These sessions became safe spaces to inspire the next generation and show them that hard work and inclusion can open doors. The hotel also began collaborating with local organizations to offer hot meals to homeless individuals once a week, using the hotel's kitchen resources. The idea wasn't just to provide food, but dignity. The guests were welcomed into the hotel's main dining room and treated like luxury patrons. Snoop insisted that the staff serve these dinners with the same dedication they gave regular clients. The impact was immediate. Local communities began to see the hotel as a symbol of change, not just a place for the rich and famous. Stories about the workshops and community dinners spread on social media, drawing even more attention to the Imperial Sunset. What was once a hotel that symbolized exclusion had become a space of hope and unity. One day, while Snoop supervised preparations for a charity event in the lobby, he saw a familiar figure timidly entering through the front doors. It was Evan. His former confidence had vanished, replaced by a mix of regret and humility. He held an envelope in his hand and wore an expression that spoke of sleepless nights. Maria, nearby, noticed him too. "What's he doing here?" she asked quietly, a touch of suspicion in her voice. Snoop raised a hand, signaling her to wait. He approached Evan, who, upon seeing him, extended the envelope with trembling hands. "Mr. Dogg, I came because I want to apologize." Snoop took the envelope but didn't open it immediately. He looked at Evan with a mix of curiosity and patience. "What changed?" he asked simply. Evan lowered his gaze. "After what happened, I couldn't get a job in the industry. No one wanted to hire me, and rightfully so. I ended up working at a roadside motel. There, I met people who made me see how wrong I was. Their stories, their struggles. I understood the harm I caused. I'm not here to ask for my job back. I just wanted to say I'm sorry." Silence filled the lobby as nearby staff listened to the conversation. Snoop nodded slowly, as if weighing every word. "We all make mistakes, Evan. What matters is what we do after them." Evan nodded, eyes full. "Thank you for listening," Evan said with gratitude. As he turned to leave, Snoop stopped him. "Wait, I'm not saying you've got your position back, but if you've truly changed, maybe we can find a role for you. Something more humble to start." Evan froze, surprised by the offer. "Really? I don't deserve it, but I'll do whatever it takes to prove I can be better." Snoop nodded. "I'll talk to Marcus. For now, help with tonight's event logistics. If you do a good job, we'll talk later." That evening, the hotel hosted its first charity gala, aimed at raising funds for the newly established foundation. Stars from music, film, and business flocked to the event, drawn not only by Snoop's reputation but by the cause he championed. The gardens were lit with warm lights, and a local band provided live music as guests enjoyed an unforgettable evening. Evan, now in a provisional role, worked tirelessly behind the scenes to make sure everything went smoothly. For the first time in years, he seemed genuinely happy to be contributing to something greater than himself. At the end of the night, as the last guests were leaving, Maria and Marcus approached Snoop. "It was a total success," Marcus said with a satisfied smile. "We raised enough to fund the workshops for at least 2 years." Snoop looked toward the lobby, where Evan was collecting empty glasses with a focused and humble expression. "And it seems like we've also started transforming people from within." Over the following months, the Imperial Sunset Hotel became a model for inclusive hospitality and social responsibility. Maria was promoted again, this time to assistant general manager, while Evan continued proving himself, slowly rebuilding the trust of his colleagues. For Snoop, the hotel was much more than an investment or a successful business. It was living proof that even the biggest mistakes could be redeemed through hard work, passion, and a clear vision. One day, as he watched the sunset from the hotel's terrace, joined by Maria, Marcus, and a group of employees who had become like family, Snoop said with a calm smile, "It's not about where you start. It's about what you do with the opportunities you're given." And here, We've all proven that we can turn something broken into something beautiful. The Imperial Sunset Hotel was no longer just a building. It was a symbol of hope, inclusion, and the power to transform even the worst experiences into something extraordinary. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'd love to know what you think about it. Leave your thoughts in the comments below.